It's the final percent. The final percent.
I am sitting in the car on I-80, and we are going exactly 0 miles an hour. My wife is sitting next to me, and she just held up the 0 hand sign. And I thought that it would be a good idea to do a podcast and just talk about this because it goes a little bit along the lines of, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. And I just wanted to kind of talk about this idea a little bit because there are so many times that we run our course, our plan, and then traffic either literally or metaphorically happens. And I think we need to talk about, what do you do when traffic happens in your life? Now, I'm going to take, even though I'm literally sitting in not stop and go traffic, 0 go traffic. Everyone has gotten out of their cars, having conversations. We've got guys with binoculars. We've got kids with blow dart guns. They're sitting on the 5-gallon orange buckets and stuff. And it just, I started thinking, I'm sure there's someone with some absolute emergency that they are freaking out in their car. And I just started to think to myself, I absolutely used to be one of those people. And now it's just, if something like this that is so out of your control happens, you got to kind of just let go. But if you take it into the metaphorical sense, what is your natural response or your natural reaction? And remember, when talking about negative versus positive, if a doctor is talking to you and they say, well, hey, you're reacting to the medication, that's usually a bad sign. But if they say you are responding to the medication, that is usually a good sign, correct? So my question is when you're going through life and traffic happens, this could be, especially in the world of entrepreneurship, most of the time it does not happen in the time frame that you want it to, have planned for it to. And we need to create kind of an emergency action plan when traffic in our life happens. And an emergency action plan is actually taken from things that Tony Robbins talks about. Is he says, when you get stagnant, when you don't know what to do, when you traditionally in the past would have, freaked out and honked the horn, and especially we're sitting here with no service. What do you do in those moments when you need to take action, when you need to move your life forward, when you need some sort of positive momentum? So again, this isn't just literal traffic. This could be when you feel stuck. This could be when you are sitting at home and you want to watch another episode of Netflix and chill. This is at home when you don't want to get that project started. And I think that it is important for us to have these emergency action plans. And there's usually 3 levels to an emergency action plan. One of my big emergency action plans is I'm going to go, and I know I've talked about this before, but I'll go out and I'll play golf, put headphones in, and I'll do it alone so that I can really process what's going on. So then I can decide on an action. What is the next thing that I'm going to do? But when we, like, for instance, let's take it back when Kayla and I were spending 2.5 years trying to get pregnant again. That is God, the universe, life, Mother Nature, however you want to look at it. That is traffic being introduced in your life. Why? Because it's not happening as fast as you want it. It's not happening when you want it. It's not happening how you want it. And realistically, everything is happening exactly as it should. One of the things that Kayla quickly said when we were sitting here, because the accident is not that far up the road, and I was just like, man, if we wouldn't, because we just stopped to use the restroom. and I was getting kind of tired, and so we just wanted to kind of refresh. So we stopped at a Love's. I think we're like 20, maybe 30 miles outside of Rawlins, Wyoming. But she was so quick to tell me, because I was like, man, if I hadn't needed to stop, we'd be ahead that. And she said, yeah, or we would be in it. And I think it's important to always take that perspective to realize, with me being tired, or maybe I wasn't as alert, maybe whatever happened up there, we would have been involved in. Now, maybe not, but the thing is we have to be able to recognize and be thankful for the blessings that we do not see. Because so often in our life, we do get traffic. We do get the stops, the detours, the slowdowns, and we look at them on the first glance. We look at them as, oh my God, not again. Why me? But you might be getting blessed, and usually it's like Steve Jobs said: the dots never connect looking forward. They only connect looking backwards. So when you run into traffic of life, literally or metaphorically, let's start trying to take the approach of, this is potentially a blessing. Now, don't get me wrong, not everything is good, and it could just potentially be some crap that you have to go through. But you have audiobooks. It gives you more time. I get to podcast now, so I'm going to be able to have one for tomorrow. I don't have to stress. I get to hang out with my wife, who's right next to me, being about the cutest person in the world. We get to listen to audiobooks. We actually when we first stopped, we stopped and listened to our upcoming album of inspiration and motivation. And we are so excited about the things that we're doing. It gives us time to reflect. And I think reflection is maybe one of the most underutilized tools for an entrepreneur, for a human being, because most of the time, if you think about the rest of the beings or animals or whatever in this kingdom of Earth, reflection is not utilized by, well, unfortunately, any animal, but it is a superpower of human beings that we almost never use. We kind of repeat things. We do so many things out of habit. And I think when we get in traffic, the life throws us the delays, and we say, hey, you know what? It's not going my way. Maybe it's life saying, hey, you got to slow down. Maybe it's life saying, hey, it's time to reflect. And that's one thing. We're en route to go see my dad, who had a heart attack a couple days ago. Part of the story that is just so hard to explain how we got here, but we think that before the heart attack, he had his car in reverse, didn't put the brake on, and accidentally ran over his feet, and he fell over. Then we think he might have cracked his hip, and all of that pain and freaking out, not knowing what's going on, is what caused the heart attack. And so he hasn't been able to get his angiogram yet because of this whole series of events. And, this is life's way of saying, hey, it's time to slow down. My dad being in his 70s, doing things in the middle of the night, redistributing wood, trying to fight with a trailer. We've got to rethink things. And the first thing when I got my dad on the phone was saying, hey, you've got a grandson on the way, because if you don't know this, my wife is 6 months pregnant, but you have a grandson on the way, and he would love to see his grandpa. And we have to reflect on what's happened when life has those big traffic stops, if you will. My mom just sprained one of her ankles and broke her other ankle in 3 places about probably 6 weeks before my dad did this. So we're starting to get into this phase of our life where mortality is becoming very real, incredibly real. And I think we need to remember that when people say you were born to die, that is true. You're not going to get out of this world alive. And we have to recognize what and where and who we are. And we have to do that with reflection. And I know that on first glance, traffic, annoying, it changes your plans, it does all of these things, and it does it in the literal sense and the metaphorical sense. But when you run into traffic in your life, use it as a opportunity for reflection, and don't forget to thank God for the blessings that you don't know about. And so with that being said, this is the final percent, and like I was saying, this wouldn't have come to me if we didn't run into some traffic. And I hope this helps someone. Maybe you're even sitting when you're listening to this in a little bit of traffic of your own, but I think that it is important to really take pause, learn to reflect, and don't get so mad at the traffic because, it could be a blessing. So without further ado, this has been the final percent.
The final percent.